What's up, everybody? It's Brandon, aka the Cincinnati Kid, checking in. Absolutely grateful and honored to be in this moment with you tonight. Absolutely, just it's been such a good day. Today, July 29th, I celebrate 6 months of continuous sobriety on my new program in planning, which I've been doing something way different than I've ever done. A lot of you know, and some of you don't know, but I've been through a lot of different kind of programs and treatment, and including 12-step, including spiritual, including jail, including marijuana maintenance. I mean, any kind of program I've tried, except for the program of let's own it, take full responsibility, and hold myself accountable to where I've been, and build up my value program. And I first just want to say that what has worked for me might not work for you. Okay, this is my way. I had to search and dig deep inside of myself to find what works for me. And so what I'm doing tonight is I just want to go over a little bit about where I was at, where I'm at now, and where now's leading to. So we're gonna kind of start at the beginning, and this is just gonna be a quick 10-15 minute set here of hopefully some inspiration to you folks out there that haven't quite got it, or have got it and are just in a moment of needing some inspiration. So let me just describe a little bit to you of where I was. Okay, 6 months ago, let's just say January 28th, I was a very hopeless individual that had no plan of living. I actually had a plan of dying, and that was kind of the motive and behind all my intentions was I didn't have to own up to nothing because I was going to die. So, and I was one of those individuals that just towards the end of it, every shot of heroin that I was doing, I was praying that it would kill me. And I would spend nights soaking my pillow, asking God why I'm alive, just in a deep, dark place with no hope. But I also put in there that I also knew my potential, and I knew inside, deep underneath all that funk, was I was better than all this, but I just couldn't find a way out. So, with that said, I wanted to find out that place to where I could come to the realization that I was worth it, and to where I could make up my mind to figure and push the gas pedal and really get at it. I really didn't know that I was going to end up like where I'm at today. I just knew that how I'm feeling today, I kind of knew that was in there. I just didn't quite know how to get it. So I just remember from the very beginning of this, day one. And so if you're in the beginning stages of just trying to find the hope, trying to find the value in yourself to even give it a shot, or you think that it's impossible and detox and withdrawal is unbearable, and you just don't even think it's worth it, why even try? I was there, okay? And curled up in a ball, shivering and throwing up in the worst physical shape that I probably ever felt like I was ever in. You can rise up from that and become, full of so much joy for life and appreciation for every breath, okay? And I call myself untraditional, in the fact that a lot of these programs and clubs that work for a lot of people, it didn't work for me. And I really tried. I felt like I tried, I really felt like I put a lot of effort into everything that I've tried to get clean through. And what's worked this time is my own thing. And some call it arrogance and whatever, but I just call it confidence. And I'm finally content with who I am. I go to sleep at night with no regrets. I don't spend the day looking for a synthetic feeling. I find enjoyment in the natural feelings that come from just living life on life's terms and pushing to find my passions and the things I enjoy in life. And you can find that, okay? You can get to this position 6 months later. I'm telling you what, I am no longer a heroin addict. I am no longer a person of desperation with no care for life in general, no respect, no value. I am a person with self-worth, a person that wants to live, a person that cares about people, a person that holds himself accountable for his actions, every single one of them, without an excuse of why, but rather a reason for why not, you know? So I just want to give some inspiration to you folks that, you know, so for the ones of you that haven't found success in some of your attempts, you know, the program that works for me is in here. It's not in a book, okay? It's not in somebody's war story. It's not in nobody else's story. It's not in, you know, no steps or none of that stuff. It's inside of here, okay? And here's what I did, day one. I remember, and here's how I got the best detox, the funnest. I got to do it in jail. And I remember day one. I remember when, like, I was finally in the cop car and I'd been running. I had warrants and stuff. And I finally remember being in the handcuffs in the cop car, and it was like, it's over. And it was like a relief. It was like a weight lifted off of me, and it was like, it's finally over. And the usual booking process that usually takes forever and is dreadful, I kind of like got wisped through it, and I was in my cell before I knew it. And I remember laying in that bed and kind of, you know, and I got the luxury of being by myself in the cell, and I remember just like feeling like, I pictured the angels up in heaven, like all of them just celebrating, trumpets going crazy and jumping up and down. You know, you're safe. We got you where we want you. And in that perfect place of brokenness, I was able to hear a still small voice within inside of myself that told me I'm worth it. And it wasn't like nothing specific, with no reservation of something I wanted out of it. Like I'm doing this because of that. It was like this whole mess was like creating this huge noise in my head where I couldn't hear myself, my real self. I became so wrapped up in the tradition of being an addict and being in active addiction that I lost sight of my own voice to myself. And finally, in that perfect spot of brokenness, that rock bottom spot where I had nothing and nobody, I heard a voice. And it kind of spoke to me, and it wasn't like in these direct words or anything, but it was a feeling that I felt. And it was like, here it is, Brandon. You can stay who you were, or you can become who you are. And it was in that moment, in that jail cell, that I like stood up and was like, shh, I'm gonna be who I am. I'm taking a stand today. Day one was the most significant day. 6 months is nothing compared to day one, when I chose and made a choice. I finally stood up for myself and I said, you know what? I'm done. I'm sick of answering for that. I know who I am inside, you know? And I didn't, and basically me knowing who I was just like that inner thing in me that says, this isn't my design to be hooked on drugs and to keep answering for these excuses, you know? Okay. I've done some shameful shit being in active addiction. But the first thing I came to grip with was I did it. Okay? I fucking did it. All that stuff, I chose to do it. I don't care how bad the urge to do it was, I still chose to do it. I don't care if the feelings were so bad that I had to steal from my aunt. I still did it. You know? I don't care if the feelings and the urges were that powerful that I had to steal from somebody trying to help me, or that I lied and cheated. I still did it, okay? Step one, I did it. I'm owning it. Step two, that feeling of saturation of I'm a bad person because of it, wrong. Get that out. The regret, it's okay. Let that stay. Let the regret stay. The feeling of I'm a bad person and that's my identity, bye. See ya. I'm not a bad person. I made some bad choices. I sure did. A lot of them. Consistently. But that doesn't mean that's my design and that's who I am. That's not who I was. Okay? That's who I made it look like I was. But inside, there's the real me that's been fighting to get out. You know? Because even as a dope fiend, you know, we still try to be ourselves somewhat, you know. But we can't quite fully be that because we have to do such shameful shit to stay there, you know. So, step 1, I did it. I own it. Step 2, learn the difference between regret and shame. Boot the shame out. Keep the regret. You're going to use this. And I used it, okay? And it was like, I'd been through the 12-step. I'd been through the spiritual, the faith-based. I've been through like all these different programs, right? And I really think that the one thing I failed to do in all that stuff was actually own all the stuff I was doing. I kind of found an excuse to why I did it. And that kind of made it okay to keep doing it, subliminally, or whether or not you realized it or not. If you have an excuse for doing something that has somewhat of a reward somewhere mixed in it, I don't care how you look at it or if you don't even realize it, but you're eventually going to make your way back to it because of that shiny little reward. I don't care how funky it is. If you have an excuse that's behind you pushing your car, you're eventually going to end up back at that thing that you find as a reward. But when I finally said I did it, okay, and I learned that I separated the shame and regret, okay, and then I just started to really focus. I searched down inside of me. I was like, what's keeping me there? It's like, okay, now I got depression because of this. And it's true, you know, my actions and all the stuff I did while in active addiction created a depression. It's a pile up of all the bullshit that I've got in my memories of all the stuff that I've done. Horrible. It feels like shit depression, you know. So I don't believe that that's a permanent chemical imbalance. I believe it's an imbalance that I created due to my actions. So again, I did it. What am I going to do about it? I chose to address my depression. I got on some medication for a period of time. And what I did while I was on that medication, I spoke to a psychiatrist. I opened up all them areas. I chose to take accountability for the stuff I did. And I voiced to myself what I did. I did it. The reason why I did it was because I wanted to do it. You know, no matter the situation, even if you say I didn't want to do it, but I did it, you know, the want was there because I did it. You know, I wanted to do it, so I did it. If I don't want to do something, you don't do it, you know? Yeah, you know, so I spoke to a psychiatrist. I got these issues resolved, and I felt a huge freedom from just admitting to myself that it was my fault. The shadiest areas that I wouldn't talk to nobody about, I brought it up, and I talked and I told somebody. I said, yeah, I did that. Whew. Huge weight lifted. And in the midst of me doing this, I focused on my first of the 3 basic things that have propelled me into this success. And the first one was, do the next right thing. And it wasn't do the right thing, so that way I had the option of picking when I wanted to do the right thing. It was do the next right thing, which means continuously, consistently. And not the comfortable next right thing that just fits because it's comfortable, but the real right thing. You know what I'm saying? Not the popular right thing, but the actual right thing on a consistent basis. And before each thing that I did, I sort of thought, I said, is this the right thing? What is the right thing? And I started to search in my head, and then I threw the accountability in there. That was always the last checkpoint it had to get through. How is this going to affect me mentally? Not just what's going to happen physically that I see, but how am I going to feel about my decision? Even if I get a good result, did I fucking use trickery or manipulation in this to where I'm going to hold some sort of guilt that's going to drive a certain feeling into me or not? And I weighed out this perfect situation of always having that last checkpoint. And if it was out of whack, it made me realize what the right thing really was. And if it was usually the thing I didn't want to do, the most uncomfortablest, the uncoolest, the unpopularist thing, that was the right thing to do. And I did it. And after doing that on a consistent basis, it starts to feel good. You know what that feeling of good looking back is? It's a pure feeling, man. It's from value. It's from self-worth. And our value never changes, our real value inside. It's just realizing that and seeing it. And that's how we do it, by doing the next honest, pure, genuine, right thing consistently. Number 2 was paying things forward. And what I meant by that was just try not to be selfish and greedy and being selfless. You know, if I got something, share it. It feels good to help somebody. Be a person that's full of service work for others. You know, it starts the day out on the right foot, helping somebody. So, you know, I started doing that. And then the last thing, which is, man, it's just really cool what this is. It's instead of saying I have to do something, it's I get to do something, you know? And it's a sneaky way of putting appreciation into everything. So applying these 3 basic principles into an all-day routine, not an hour of going sitting in somewhere and listening to whatever for an hour. No, I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about doing something the entire 24 hours of a day. Not a club, not a program, a movement. Are you with me on this? Could you guys grasp what I'm trying to say? Like where I'm at? Like 6 months later, I've consistently done this stuff. And I can't even begin to tell you the difference between this happy feeling and that pink cloud that I had before, you know, driving 5 people to a meeting. And I'm not knocking the people that get the good stuff out of all these different programs. I'm glad it works for you. I'm one of the ones that didn't work for that should be dead. So I feel obligated as a person with a servant's heart to share what's working for me. Because if you're watching this looking for a way, that don't work for you. This might. And I'm not saying that, you know, I know the way. I'm just saying, if you find some similarities in what I'm saying, dig deep. This is an individual thing, okay? What exactly works for me might not work for you. But get involved. This is your recovery. This is your life. You don't have to fit to a standard for something to work for you. Find your individual plan. Pick what works from here, from there, from there. Pull it all in. Make it your own. The whole point of this is to live on life's terms. That's good enough. I'm telling you. I haven't had an out-of-body buzz since January 28th. And I'm telling you, I have walked out of this house. I've walked out of some shitty places I would have looked at before, but I walk out of here thinking it's a mansion. And it's the best day of my life, I've said over and over each day. I've got my daughter back in my life. She says, hey, Daddy, let me get on your shoulder. You know, and to where I used to be like, I'll get you later. I let her on my shoulder every time she asks. And to my family that sees a changed man, you know, it just feels good, man. I'm telling you, there's nothing like it. Nothing that compares. And in 6 months, and I'm telling you, within a couple months there's a difference. The work never stops. It just becomes routine and becomes a part of your healthy character. So that behavior of active addiction, that behavior, you can relearn a new one. It's called you. Who are you? Get in a mirror and find out who you are. Okay? Get to work. If you're watching this tape, you still got time. You still get to. You don't have to, you get to. Rest in peace, Mama. I love you. Rest in peace, Laura. I love you too. And all the 27 friends and all the lives that's been lost to heroin. I love you. And if nobody's told you today, I love you and you're worth it. You can do this. I promise you. So until tomorrow, get your life. Let's get this together. Love y'all. Peace.